I encourage all players to learn every technique they can, no matter what style they play. The more techniques you have, the more tools you have in your toolbox. It's that simple. If you haven't observed this for yourself, there are certain techniques that tend to appear more in some genres than others. And when it comes to being a modern metal guitarist, there are certain techniques that you just cannot get by without. So in this lesson, we're going to tackle exactly what those techniques are. And stay tuned because I've got a super sweet bonus that I'll be giving away to help your tones sound absolutely killer. And you're not going to want to miss out on that. So grab your axe, take a seat, and let's get ready to rock. So the first technique that is absolutely essential, no matter what type of metal guitarist you are, lead, rhythm, and even no matter what type of metal guitarist you are in terms of subgenre, the gallop is an essential technique that you just have to have under your belt. And it does tend to have more of a thrashy vibe, and it can be surrounded by different rhythm patterns as opposed to just standing alone as a sequence of just continuous gallops. So you can have a gallop in the middle or on the ends of other rhythm patterns. So how you pull this technique off has entirely to do with your picking hand, okay? Because you can use this technique on open strings, you can use it on any note really. So all you really have to do for this technique is make sure that you're picking in a down, up, down fashion. So 1, 2, 3, down, up, down. And then if you're going to play this in the classic thrashy sequence where you're playing gallops in succession, usually there's a pause in between each one, with each new gallop starting again with a downbeat. So it's down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So as you might be noticing when you're doing this in heavier styles of music, where oftentimes you are just ripping that sequence on the lowest open string you have, you're pairing that with the palm muting technique. So you're making sure that the outer edge of the palm of your picking hand is gently grazed over the strings by the bridge of your guitar. So instead of having it sound like this, it sounds tighter with the palm muting like this. As a metal player, in addition to making sure you have proper form with these techniques, you'll also find that having the right tones can help achieve a lot with getting these tricks to sound even better. And so to help you with that, I want to give you my free Elite Tones cheat sheet just as my gift to you to go along with this. It gives you my best tips on how to dial in killer amp tones, and it includes direct links to some of my favorite free amp sims, so you'll automatically get access to a ton of new heavy sounds right away. It even shows you how to make those digital amp simulators sound like authentic physical amplifiers. So grab it now so you don't forget, just by clicking the link in the description or by going to zachsharguitar.com. The next technique that is an essential for metal playing and also tends to be a little more unique to metal in general is the pinch harmonic. What this technique does is it allows you to highlight specific notes by making them scream. And one of the things I find most appealing about this technique when it comes to the heavy stuff is that it can provide an excellent contrast against some low-end riffage. So here's how you do this. With pinch harmonics, you can technically achieve them no matter what, on any tone setting, on any type of guitar even. It doesn't have to just be an electric, it can be an acoustic. But you'll have the most success when you have some high gain distorted tones. So this technique, out of all the ones in this lesson, tends to be most dependent on your tone settings. So again, don't forget to grab that bonus I mentioned before. So what you want to do to pull this technique off is immediately after you pluck a note, you're going to take the edge of your thumb kind of by that knuckle there, and you're going to have it gently graze the string you just plucked. So for example, on the low E string, I'm going to try to get a harmonic on fret 2. Slowly, in action, here's what that looks like. This is just for demonstration purposes. Like I said, you want to make sure you're hitting it immediately. So that way the harmonic is instantaneous and there's no delay or gap in between the plucking of the note and that point where that edge of your thumb is grazing the string. And another little bonus that helps a lot with this is to try to give the note you're squealing a little bit of vibrato because it helps sustain that nice rich harmonic. Last but not least on this list, we have tremolo picking. So we're ending on a fast note. And tremolo picking helps a lot with those speedier, brutal ideas, some melodic runs, and even with your soloing skills. So tremolo picking is pretty much the next and even the final step in some ways of alternate picking. So you'll be a lot better off having alternate picking under your belt to give you some foundation and better equip you to succeed with tremolo picking. So all we're going to do for this, we're going to return to fret 2 of the low E string, and we're just going to try to tremolo pick with that. So all it is just making sure your down, up, down, up, down, up picking pattern gets to a point where it breaks the speed barrier. And so the biggest mistake people make with this is that they flex and tense their whole arm all the way from their wrist all the way up to their shoulder. And that's a big no-no because you want to be able to sustain this technique for at least some period of time without fatiguing. And it's also just not efficient in general. What you want to do is just localize the tension as close to the pick as possible. So pretty much anything from the elbow down. And what I find that helps a lot with this is focus on picking with your fingers, your thumb and your index finger that are holding the pick. And as you can see, it's definitely not strict to those two fingers, but it's just a little psychological tip to help you focus on where the tension is going, because there's definitely some wrist and forearm activation that are occurring with this as well. But even with those muscles being engaged, you're not going to fatigue yourself as much because they're a lot smaller when compared to the larger muscle groups of your bicep, tricep, deltoid, trap, etc. So with these 3 techniques alone, you can just combine them all into your own ideas, just like this quick one I came up with. These are just a few techniques that happen to be common in metal. I encourage you to practice these to the point where they become second nature to you. And don't stop there, because there are tons of other techniques within and outside of the metal realm that can lead you to becoming a more well-rounded player. For now, you will at least have the gallop, pinch harmonics, and tremolo picking to help you get by on the heavy stuff. And to make sure you've got some modern metal tones to complement your new modern metal techniques, don't forget to download my free Elite Tones cheat sheet if you have not done so already. It gives you my best tips on how to dial in killer amp tones, plus it includes direct links to some of my favorite free amp sims. It even shows you how to make those digital amp simulators sound like authentic physical amplifiers. So just click the link in the description or go to ZachShardGuitar.com and download this awesome free resource. I'm Zach with Zach Shard Guitar. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless.